Well, hello there. Yes. Well, this is RG. And yes, this is your grandmother's wallpaper behind me. Anyway, I did want to answer. It's very strange. I feel kind of awkward even commenting on it. That the Meg androgynous post. Um, the thing is when you put yourself into a label, people just assume, oh yeah, I know somebody like this. I know this bisexual woman, and then they think that, oh, okay, yeah, I know what this is about. There is nobody like Meg. However, the autism traits are much more dominant than the bi or androgynous traits. I mean, the thing is that you have to think about. I mean, Meg's what makes Meg unique, and this is what makes you unique if you're watching it yourself, is your ability to be in tune with yourself and your understanding of yourself. And um, so, like, I actually do know maybe about 8 bisexual Aspie women, and I know that's way more than most people know. And it's uh, I really just felt that if oh joy, if Meg only could meet some other people like herself, it would be life changing. And I know that's true because it was life changing for me meeting other Aspie guys. So uh, my my ex-wife's, I guess my sister-in-law, right? My ex-wife's sister thought that I was on the Asperger's syndrome autism spectrum, but I didn't really like her actually. I mean, I respect certain things about her, but you know, oh, here's my sister-in-law, telling me what's wrong with me. So I never even bothered to look into it. However, when I was teaching high school, one of the students that it was in my one of my classes had Asperger's syndrome, and I was supposed to read about what it was. When I was reading about it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's totally sounds like me." But I wasn't sure because maybe people on the Asperger's syndrome, maybe they're all weird and they come across like they're retarded or something, and I didn't know. But I had an open mind, so I went to the Asperger's support group in Evanston, Illinois, and I realized that there some people did seem very odd, and you could tell right away that yeah, you couldn't relate to them because there was so much severity to their issues. But other people were very much. I could see some similarities with me myself, and I was taking notes and I was looking at the different people and hearing what they had to say and trying and sort of making some judgments about people. And it's like there was a guy that was sort of effeminate, but yet he's very relatable. And I thought this could be somebody that could be a friend. And there's another girl that was very short hair, and she was under a blanket. Like I didn't know why she was under a blanket. I guess it was a weighted blanket, and I guess people with autism actually sometimes like a weighted blanket. And she's, oh, this girl's like really weird, and I probably don't have anything in common with her. But as it turns out, she became like my best friend. And so you can't really judge a book by its cover. And of course she was. So the interesting thing is being a lesbian autistic girl. It was interesting, and when she went to school, the teacher recognized that she didn't have any friends. She was different and came across odd, and so the teacher went to another girl and said, "Now, Sarah, I'm assigning you to be Jamie's friend." I mean, I guess that works in first grade. You can assign somebody to be somebody's friend, and now the weird thing about it is, you would think that since something so unnatural like that would be it wouldn't stick, right? But actually, then in their 20s and 30s, they still were friends. So it actually sort of worked. Um, even though you wouldn't think they would have had anything in common. And then Sarah has gone to Jamie's parties that she's had. Jamie actually became very social, and that's another oddity, a social Aspie. I mean, um, Aspie guys tend to be sort of loners, um, and Aspie women are have figured out social how to navigate social situations almost better because mm, so it's that's why so many Aspie women are misdiagnosed. They're not even diagnosed at all. They just fit in so well. Um, and Now there's this term of masking. I have a really hard time with masking because in the olden days, people never talked about masking. Masking sounds like you're trying to be someone else. I do love the Meg this character I'm playing. Um, so going through school, there's a lot of pressure to be like everybody else, and is that masking or survival, right? And so trying to assimilate is part of who I am though. That doesn't it's when I'm trying to assimilate and be more like other people, I come across that way. That's that's not masking. That is part of who I am. Um and if people get to know me a little better, of course, then I can be a little bit more of my creative Aspie self, right? Um, so anyway, I okay. The other one is so in Jamie, at one point, even though she's always described herself as a lesbian girl, she dated a guy for once, and it's like, and then her best friend Sarah said, "Well, wait a second. If you're dating a guy, that means you're bi. You can't be gay and be dating a guy. That means you're bi then." And she said, "No, I can be, I can be lesbian and still date a guy." And well, so Sarah said, "Well, that can't be." And the answer was, "Well, this guy, he's more effeminate than most of the women I date, so that's why it works." So I guess that does work that way. Um. Anyway, I guess don't put yourself in a box like you have to like, oh well, I've decided that I'm lesbian so I can only date women. I mean, just look at everybody for themselves. I kind of wish, I've thought that it would be great if I could actually have that same attitude. I think I do have the attitude. I just know what I okay, so why do I date, oh, okay, so I've kind of looked at the pattern here. I mean, every woman I've dated either is bi, or if they're straight, no one believes that they're straight. Um, so what does that make me? I mean, it doesn't make me the typical hetero guy. It doesn't mean that I'm into guys. I'm only into bisexual women, and why is that? Well, um, I like smart girls, and the thing is that I don't like to say that being effeminate isn't being smart, but like girly girls tend to be like wanting somebody to take care of them, and and it's not that I don't like to take care of people because I do a great job of taking care of whoever I'm with. It's just that like the whole I'm helpless and need somebody thing is kind of a turnoff for me. I mean, I guess a lot of guys like the idea of like taking care of somebody, and once again, I like taking care of somebody too. You know, I'm taking care of my father right now. Okay, so like I do most of the cooking now, and you know because I have my dad living with me, and um, I just would hate to think about my my father is 89 years old. I hate to think of him like alone or in a nursing home or something. And I love my dad, you know? I mean, it's like, so of course I want things to be nice for him. Um, so I don't mind taking care of people. I just don't like the idea of the role that women have where they're like this helpless person, whatever. So, um, the other weird thing is, and I know this is really strange, when I've been to the Aspie support group in Evanston, um, you know, I was kind of surprised that most of the Aspie guys are looking for mom, somebody to take care of them. And that's not a genuine, see, that's okay, that's not a genuinely masculine trait, to be wanting to be taken care of like a mom around. But that's how most of them were, and I don't relate to that at all. And I'm completely embrace who I am, and I like who I am. And it would be like I would be the only Aspie guy that I've ever met. This is true. I've never met another Aspie guy that's like me in this way, that think that Aspie women are the greatest, hottest, most attractive people. And I, I is it? And then I wonder, do Aspie men they don't like who they are? I mean, is that it? Because I actually do like who I am, and I, I mean, it doesn't mean that I have to have have a. Mm, okay, and my relationships, I like this nice close friendship thing. Okay, so I've okay, one of the women I've dated before, she was like thinking that there are two different types of people: the kind that you'd want as your friend, and then the kind of person that you date. I never ever could relate to that. It seems like as though like the person who'd be your best friend would be like the best person to date. And um, anyway, I just the frustration thing for me is that with Meg is that if only Meg met more people like herself, it would be you wouldn't she or you, if you're watching this, wouldn't feel alone so much. And so it's like, gee, if only I could meet Meg, I could introduce her to all these Aspie women. I did bring one to the San Francisco concert, and and uh, and one of your Patreon people got to meet her, and anyway, um, and so I've considered. See, the other thing too is that Aspie women I'm talking about are not people who are on social media or people who want everyone to know. Like a lot of people on the spectrum struggled perhaps as kids with social interactions, and then now as adults, knowing how to mask as they are talking about now, or trying to fit in, really don't want to be outed as Aspie. And so the ones that a couple of the ones that I after knowing them for like a couple of years, they finally admitted that they knew that they were on the spectrum. But of course, I knew right away, though, right? Um, anyway, um, I'm hoping that somehow, I mean, there's that thing that we that we keep talking about, but we don't talk about, and I'm hoping you'll work with Trey, and we'll make sure that happens. um, but because it would certainly be nice to be around other singer songwriter musician types, and um, anyway, I guess I've said the things that I really need to say, and I just have a great appreciation for you. And well, we'll talk later, hopefully. All right, over and out.